All right, Panther fans, as you can see, Stu has the big smile. He's got the victory cigar. Now we're having a little bit of technical issues, so we're going to do this and we're going to put it out. And if you don't like it, complain to the Wi-Fi gods. We're doing the best we can. We don't know. Anyway,
my laptop's having some issues, so
Yeah.
sorry about that, but such is life.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. So, all right. So we got 2 points. That's what I can say about that game, because we did not look good in that first period. And we kind of looked like a team that had been off for a couple of weeks. Let's face it.
Exactly.
Bob did let in the one goal, which Ekblad got beat. Bob lets it in, but he made some saves there at the end of the first period that kept us in the game.
He made some saves throughout the whole game that kept us in the game. I mean, in his press conference after the game, he was embarrassed by that Panarin goal, and he let everybody know when he said, "I don't want to talk about the goal, the specific goal." Next. So, yeah, I mean, Ekblad, I don't think played that right. I mean, granted, give Panarin credit. He made a great move.
Right.
But that's a play where Ekblad should knock him off his skates.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as he touches the puck, he has the right to give him a check.
Right.
And he didn't. And they both got beat. Okay.
Yeah.
So
it happens.
We're down 1-0. Obviously, I'm ecstatic. You're ecstatic. Panther fans are ecstatic that we have hockey back. And the best part about this is Barkov had 2 weeks to,
Right. Yeah.
We obviously missed him dearly, going into this shutdown, losing 3 games in a row, which really should have been only 2 games, because I think the NHL should have canceled that Kings game. We never should have had to play that game with 5 guys out, and of course losing the 2 points. But anyway, I was thrilled to see Marchment back.
Yep.
That I really like, and hopefully, he can keep his head from getting pounded again.
Yeah.
And of course, you're gonna have rust, and it showed. But Lundell made a great. He made a great play on that. I mean, basically, he got a quick rebound that he pounced on.
Right.
But that third period, boy, did they come alive.
I know. And the thing with that third period is that when they came out and I saw that Brunette had switched, he moved Declare down and put Reinhardt up, and I was this close to tweeting out, bitching and complaining about how, I guess the top line gets 2 periods back with Duclair, and then they move them. But then it worked. So I figured I would shut up. Yeah. The depth on this team, and we've talked about it so many times, but it's the scratch last night was Thornton, Vetrano, and Tippett. And now I know Tippett was still technically in COVID protocol, so he couldn't play. He could practice, but he couldn't play. I don't know if that means he would have played or not, because you got to figure as soon as Marchment was ready, he was going to get into the game. And Mammon he hasn't done anything to deserve to be sat in favor of Tippett at this point. It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of another there. The thing the thing that surprised me was, Vetrano getting sat. Not that I think he should play over Ryan Lomberg, but I was happy to see that the coach is keeping that fourth line together, and not just saying, well, we're going to play Vetrano because he might be better at certain things than Lomberg.
Listen, those guys, it's a well-deserved benching. I'm sorry to say. Those guys, well, we won't talk about Thornton. Let's just talk about Vetrano and Tippett. Right. They've earned their spot on the bench.
Yep. Yep.
totally ineffective the whole season. And that's the plain, blunt truth.
Yeah.
You know, the other guys, I mean, Lombard has worked hard to earn his spot on the team.
Right.
Sitting him any game would be a mistake. What he brings to this team,
Yep.
it's just, you know, and he brings it every shift. And his energy, his, you know, good vibes, whatever you want to call it, rubs
Right.
off on his teammates.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely.
And Marchment, you know, Marchment was killing it before he got hurt. I mean, I love that Lundell, Marchment, and Reinhardt line. You know,
Yeah.
that was the line that was, you know, together before he, you know, he got the concussion. And
Right.
I'd like to see, excuse me, I'd like to see that line together, but you know, Ristolainen, Lumberg, and Hornquist, that you know, again, I don't look at them as a fourth line. I just
Right. Right.
I don't. So you know, as far as those two, I mean, you and I have both said it, and we agree that, you know, unfortunately, Achari is, you know, probably not going to be in the future plans, and I think Vetrano's going to be gone, and I wouldn't doubt Tippett getting moved. It's
Well,
just it just there are other players that have, you know,
right.
stepped up. Um,
I wrote about that today actually for the Patreon. Now the Vetrano thing, considering the contract and what he'll probably get paid, I would be shocked if he didn't get dealt. The Tippett thing is a little bit different for me, and I'm putting my personal preference aside and just looking at it from
okay, please do.
yeah, no, I am, and I'm just looking at it from a financial aspect and what we have coming next year. And the point I made is that if you're going to include Tippett in a package, you better be getting, you know, like a top 4 D man in return, because
Yeah, Jacob
because you could sign him now. I mean, he's not signed for next year, and he's not played well, so you could easily sign him to a cheap bridge deal for a couple of years that would be team friendly, but we would be tradable. But the point being that I'm not against trading him. I'm just saying that I'm okay with it if it's in a package to bring us a real asset that's going to help us win now, then okay, I'm good with that. I wouldn't want to just throw him away for just like another prospect.
No,
That's
I
yeah,
understand. Tito should quite aggressively go after Chikrin, give him Vetrano, Tippett, a first round pick, and a D prospect.
yeah,
Unless, you know, Arizona, you know, wants somebody else from our asset pool. They have a lot of draft picks this year, so it's
right,
not going to be, you know, two first round draft picks
right,
thrown
right,
at
right,
them.
right.
You know, they need good players, and you know, it would I just see that as the simplest package.
Right.
Toronto Tippett, a first rounder, second rounder, whatever. I know Zito probably doesn't like giving up, but at this point in time, to get a player of Chikrin's caliber, and of
Right.
course, I told you the PR, you know,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
pluses. Hometown boy comes back home, blah blah blah.
Right. Right.
It would be just a major win, you know, not only for the team but for the fans. So if there was a player to, you know, go after aggressively, that's the guy.
Yep. No disagreement there. So a little bit back to the game yesterday. So I
Wait,
saw.
Come on.
Go
Now,
ahead. Go ahead.
question:
Yeah.
would you give up? Who would you give up? I mean, I don't think they want to part with Prisky because, again, hometown. But you know, we got Kierstead. Obviously, Connaughton's gone.
Right. Right.
We got that Oli, you know,
You Levy.
2.0. I don't think
Yeah.
he's going to be in the big plans. I just don't see that. So,
When you
and
take
again,
into
it's like,
consideration, we'd be adding a top 4, right? So just for numbers' sake, Ekblad, Uyghur, Forsling, Chikrin, and then Gudis and Montour. Who did I leave out? Who
I
that
don't
leave
know.
out?
I'm sorry I didn't pay attention because already in my mind I'm seeing Chikrin and Ekblad as your number one and Forsling and Uyghur as your number two.
Okay, and then you
And
got
then I'm trying to think of number three, and all I can come up with is Montour and Gudis.
right.
Again, two righties, but I have, you know, I have no doubts putting Chikrin up not only with Ekblad on the number one D pair, but also running the power play.
Well, yeah, and let's get into that. Let's
Sad to say, Ekblad ain't getting it done. So I mean,
no,
we could go back to the power play situation, but let's
yeah.
just stay on topic here. I don't know what it's going to take, but I bet if you threw out a poll on Twitter today, I would say at least 80% in that poll would say, yeah, let's get Chikrin.
Yeah, no, I've seen no real resistance to that idea from our fan base. That's for sure.
Find a way to get it done. Vitrano and Tippett, they've like I said, they've squeezed themselves out.
Well, while I don't disagree, it's tough because I mean that is part of what's making the team as good as it is the depth. So, you get rid of a Toronto and Tippett. If something happens to a Duclair or a Huberto or a Bennett, you know, now we're picking up, our AHL guys and hoping that they can fill in the gaps there. So, I mean, it would take a big piece. Losing both guys at once would take a chop out of our depth. There's no way around that. But in terms of what defensive prospect to give them, if you're going to be adding in Chikrin, I would think for Toronto, Tippett, Ulevy, maybe a pick, maybe not having to give up one of Vetrano or Tippett. I think Ulevy would have to be the odd man out there, because he still has a high prospect ceiling. You know what I mean? And once you've added Chikrin to the mix on defense for us, there's no room. That kid's never going to see the ice.
Yeah, the question is, if those are the players, will Arizona take them?
Right.
And it's not like it's a player where they have to worry about fitting in the cap.
Right.
So I just think, there's a solution as far as, God forbid, one of our key guys going down. I think we have enough depth. I think we have enough good players that could come up and we still haven't seen Noel.
Yeah.
To see him come up and, play a few games and, see what he can do. But we definitely
and who's the other kid? Hutsko.
Yeah, we would deal with it. We would deal with it. Right now, based on everything that we know about the power play, we need a change.
Well, somebody just mentioned on the Discord right before we came on, and I said I'm going to talk to you about it. They said I think it was Vincent said, if we're going to keep Brunette as coach, can we just hire somebody else new to run the power play? Because he had Ekblad not run the power play one time, and it worked. And he keeps throwing Ekblad back out there, no matter how many times it doesn't work. And I like that idea. I don't know if that's like a thing teams do, but I would be all about just getting somebody. If you want to get somebody from the outside, just get somebody to fix the damn power play.
Well, I've said Forsling should be QB in the power play, but if it's not them, I even think Montour would be a good QB. I really like the way that kid moves things around.
Right.
But if they're not going to make some changes, it's gonna, I mean, it's beyond awful. I mean, it's really,
Yes.
it's It's like really bad. I
Oh,
mean, every
yeah,
game, and again, being at the arena, watching live, and you have an opportunity to isolate. He just looks lost. Like he doesn't know what to do. He's not like Yandel. Okay,
right,
say what we will about Yandel defensively, and the occasional flub at the blue line.
right.
Pretty much, Yandel ran a good power play.
Yep, yep. No doubt there.
Great passer, and he, for the most part, knew where to put the puck. He he wasn't, as far as like what the game plan to get it in the zone or who it was going to go to. I mean, next time you watch, or if you watch him like skating around with the puck, like he doesn't know and forget about when Barkov was out.
Right.
So if there was one area of the team that I would pinpoint as something that needs some drastic work, it's the power play.
Right. Well,
You
it's
can't
a complete.
you
It's
can't keep going. Two. I mean, obviously we only had 2 chances, but game we went 0-6,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
got 6 chances and don't score 1 goal. That's pathetic.
It's a complete momentum killer. I mean, it's bad. I mean, we become a bad team for those 2 minutes.
I mean, how do you not score on a 5-on-3?
Yeah, I
How do
know.
you score on a power play in overtime?
Right, right. Yeah, no, and it was full 2 minutes, wasn't it? Yeah, yeah. Well, I would not mind getting somebody in from the outside to do that. Now, whether or not they would do that, I don't know. They had the statistic up last night, so we were 24th in the league, and that was at the start of the game. And it just boggles my mind considering the people that we have out there. Um, the one thing Jeff mentioned this is that it's like, oh look, the Rangers are actually, they keep moving and keep skating around when they're on the power play, and a lot of our guys are just standing still, waiting for something to happen. And I don't get it because we're such an aggressive offensive team, and it's almost like when we get on the power play, they just expect. But the only thing that they're trying to do is like look for the one specific matchup. You know what I mean? They're not trying to make something happen. They're waiting for the other team to make a mistake. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They just look. It all comes down to chemistry, and I
Right.
don't think you don't necessarily go with talent. You go with chemistry, and I don't think we have the right guys out there.
Right.
Obviously, you're not going to take Barkov and Huberdeau off the power play. I like Hornquist, being in front. He always
Yeah.
pick one way or the other. Um, but as far as what that leaves Bennett and Reinhardt, and I love Bennett. I'm so keen on Reinhardt being on the power play. I
Right.
think there's other guys that I think would be better fit being on the power play. But
Right. Right.
what are you going to do? We're obviously not coaching this team, but
No, not yet. Anyway.
but but anyway, it was a good win. Lots of Ranger
Yeah.
fans. I mean,
Yeah.
I made a comment. I took my mom to the game last night, and um, she obviously, big Ranger fan, and converted to diehard Panther fan. But
Right.
during warmups, there were so many blue shirts watching the warmups on
Right.
either side of the arena.
Yeah.
Just filled. And they were a lot more Ranger fans watching warmups than Panther fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I think somebody said on Twitter, because the first period I commented, I was like, I thought this was a home game because all you saw in the stands were blue. And I
yeah,
forget who it was, somebody said it's because the New Yorkers are used to driving in the traffic and getting to the game on time.
yeah, I saw that. But
Yeah.
big win. What really, got me as the game was going on was how they were beating Shesterkin, if I'm not pronouncing that right. I
Yeah,
mean,
close enough.
we could not get a puck past that guy at the Garden.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, you know how they scored, and pretty much every goal was top shelf. There were 2 goals. I mean, Duclair was barred down.
Right.
So,
And
it's a game of inches. So obviously you have to be real precise with the shot. But the only,
The Verhage
yeah,
goal, that's
that's
usually
the
what's,
only goal. That's the only goal. I was just about to tell you
yeah,
that
yeah.
that's the only goal that wasn't top corner.
Right,
He
right.
just missed that one.
Yep,
That was one that I'm sure he'd like to have back. The
right.
other ones, Uyghur's shot was a bullet.
Yeah,
Lundell was a bang bang in the net before he could move.
right.
And Duclair just roofed it. I mean,
Well, that was a beautiful play by Huberto because he just cut to the middle and both defensemen followed Huberto and just left Duclair just standing there all alone. And that we would have been screaming if we would have done that. We would have been screaming, right? And I want to get your opinion on the one goal because I said this in the recap. Um, the one where Gudis missed the puck and then it led to the 2-on-1. Now I know,
he
it
didn't
looked,
miss it. He didn't miss it. Panarin stole it. Panarin
yeah,
lifted its stick.
yeah, I've heard that after the fact. In the recap, I said that's what Randy said. When they showed the replay, he felt like he overskated it, and then later, I guess they got a closer look. But I would have preferred Uyghur at that point to just stay with his man instead of taking an edge towards the shooter because Bob had the angle on the shooter. And instead of staying with his man, Uyghur let his guy get behind him. And he moved towards the shooter and just left this guy all alone. That was frustrating because he was there with this guy and he just left him there. And it just makes me wonder what the hell these guys are thinking sometimes on the ice.
Yeah. I saw, Ekblad had a couple of situations where he made the wrong decision and, lost a guy.
Right.
Even on the Panarin goal. But, again, these are, bang, bang plays that, that happen in a split second and make the right decision. And sometimes you
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah. No, I get it. I
you
get
know.
it. So do you think we're going to see Knight tonight, or I would kind of prefer to let Bob play again since he had so much time off, and just let Knight play against the Canadians during the day on Saturday?
Good
Remember, Knight got
question.
lit up in this one
Good
AHL game
question.
too.
Let's put it this way. I hope it's Bob and net tonight.
Right.
I'd rather have Bob and net against Tampa than Knight. I
Yeah.
just, based on, the last few games, it just, if it was the Knight from last year, I'd say no, no doubt. But,
No doubt.
I have problems right now with his confidence level. And, Tampa bangs in a goal or two, the
Right.
house of cards just collapses.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So,
And
I don't think Bob had that great a workload last night.
Right. Right. Well, and that's the
So
thing. I mean, Tampa's a team that can bury you really fast. For the Canadians, not so much. Exactly to your point.
yeah, the Canadians, like I said, it was a fluke that they got to the finals last year. They're just not as good a team. I wouldn't put them in the elite category.
No.
And
No. No.
Tampa right now they're really rolling.
Yep. Yep. Well, we
They're
knew
really
that they would
rolling in.
start slow. Um, I'm not even. You mentioned it in the middle of the break there when I wasn't feeling well, and you mentioned about the standings. And I took one look at the standings, and I just closed the laptop. I'm not looking. I'm not
Yeah,
looking.
I mean, for me, I was writing Tampa off, after they lost Gord and what was it Goodrow and
Right. Yeah, we saw Gaudreau last night.
I forgot who the other guy is, but they lost, they lost that third line. And you know what? It's like, no big deal. We'll put some new guys in.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
when you've got a goalie like Vasilevsky,
exactly.
that happens,
Exactly. So, Tampa right now is a hot team. It's going to be a really, really big test tonight coming back. Obviously, now that we've had a game under our belt, if they don't come out like they did in the third period of last night's game,
Right.
and it takes them 10 minutes to get going,
Yeah.
Tampa could be up 2-3 goals.
Yep. No doubt about that. No doubt.
The formula, minimum 4 goals.
Yeah.
I think you're going to need 5 or 6 goals, to be honest with you.
Probably tonight.
I think Tampa gets 3-4 goals. I never see a 1-0, even though, the game that clinched it for Tampa was what, 1-0 or 2-0. But
Right.
I always see high scoring games against them.
Yeah.
And I actually had tickets for tonight, and I decided not to go. I'll just assume watch it on TV tonight. But yeah, tonight's a very important game, and I don't think Knight's up to the task. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I would prefer to see him Saturday, an afternoon game against the Canadians as a whole. These are not games now against Tampa in the division. We can't lose. We can't have a 4-point swing. Look, we're going to finish in the top 3. Great. And we'll see who we play. That's one thing I've talked about. Would a Panthers Rangers playoff series ever end? Because the last 11 games have been decided by 1 goal, and I could just see us having 2 and 3 overtimes, like almost every game with those 2 teams if we played them in a playoff series.
I don't know. Right now, all I'm focused on is just get on Twitter yesterday about, okay, we've had a reset. We got our guys back. It's time for, winning streak.
Right. So
we need that. We need something like that to get back in the groove,
Yeah.
The last month, I just want to forget about how bad.
I know, and even bad for us is
we can make all the excuses in the world. This guy out, whatever, but we just played like shit. Plainly honest.
Right. No, I know it. All right, bud. I'm good. You're good. I'm still not going to have a stream tonight. I'm going to try to get to where.
Just save your energy. Take it easy.
Yep.
You. I mean, it's like, into this channel and providing good content for everybody, but you got to take care of your health.
Yep. Absolutely. So. All right, guys, we appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Eventually, Stu is going to start going live. He's going to start a fishing show on the channel, so he just doesn't know it yet. He's going to win the lottery and buy a kayak and start doing live videos fishing from the river out there.
Yeah, we really a start to the game.
Yep.
We have to send a message. I am thinking it's going to be another one of those physical, look in the beginning of the game for Tampa to intimidate us in those scrums.
Yep.
So we better be up for the task and look for Ryan Lomberg.
Yes.
Or my sleeper assassin tonight.
Yep. We'll see. I would enjoy a nice rough night tonight as long as nobody gets hurt. I want everybody out of this game healthy.
And no power plays.
Yeah, seriously, just decline the penalties.
For either team.
Exactly.
I don't want to see a Tampa power play.
No, God, no. All right, bud. I appreciate it. I'll talk on you later. You guys, we will see you again tomorrow morning after Stu gets another 2-point victory cigar.